You're good. I'm gonna get out of your way.
Making sure everything's still great.
Which is good. You know,
Yeah.
we're not in here every day this time of year, so.
We've been checking it every morning, but
Oh,
still trying to make sure.
just it is, yes, before people come in and they complain. So.
You have to hit it. Mine says Tennessee House. When this light is on, they're on.
Yes, you will have to control your own mind. Oh, send a column or a belonging. You're gonna be able to control your own mind today.
to press up.
Okay, we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Government Operations Joint Evaluation Committee on Judiciary and Government this Thursday, this Tuesday, September the 16th of 2025. Madam Clerk, let's see, I'm going to ask Jaya if she would, Madam Clerk, to please take the roll.
Senator Bowling. Senator Bowling is present. Senator Hatcher. Senator Hatcher is present. Senator Kyle. Present. Senator Kyle is present. Senator Rose.
Here.
Senator Rose is present. Chairman Jackson.
Here.
Chairman Jackson is present. Senator Sutherland. It's not here. Chairman, you have 5 members present.
Thank you. And if you'll take the roll in the House.
Representative Clemens. Representative Fritz. Representative Helton Haynes. Representative Mayberry. Here. Representative Parkinson. Representative Faison. You have 2 members in the House present.
Thank you. And we have a quorum in the Senate. There's not a quorum in the House, so the House members will be able to ask questions, but will not be able to vote since we don't have a quorum. So, okay, just what we'll do, we'll get started on the first. Actually, the first 3 items are very similar. So we're going to go through each one of those three items at the same time. But we'll take motions separately on each one. So if the Honorable Jim Bryson and Commissioner or Lee or whoever is coming forward, please come forward and turn your mics on and you may begin.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's an honor to be here before you today, and thank you for asking us to come and present. We want to today respectfully request an extension for the Local Education Insurance Committee, the Local Government Insurance Committee, and the State Insurance Committee. These three committees are responsible for overseeing public sector benefits for over 349,000 Tennesseans, including teachers, local government employees, state employees, higher education employees, their dependents, and their retirees. I am privileged to be chair statutorily of each of these committees, and I can tell you that the members on these committees work very hard for the benefits of those who are insured, and they do what I think a fantastic job at ensuring that the benefits are strong and affordable. These three committees each determine premiums, benefit packages, eligibility provisions, procurement activity, and develop the plan documents, which serve as the official policy documents for the plans. The plans have maintained 10 consecutive years of clean audits. That's 10 consecutive years of clean audits in these plans. This reflects strong financial management and operational integrity. I'm joined today by Director Lori Lee. She is the Executive Director of Benefits Administration. Benefits Administration is a division within the Department of Finance and Administration and is statutorily designated to serve as staff to all three of these committees. Lori will now provide a brief overview of the committee structure and responsibility. At the conclusion, we'll be happy to answer whatever questions that you may have. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And Commissioner Lee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Laurie Lee, Executive Director of Benefits Administration. Following Commissioner's opening remarks, I would like to outline just some of the key points that cross over all three committees, and then highlight some information that is specific to each. And I'll try to go through this very quickly. The authority and the principal duties and membership of the committees are outlined in statute, and that was referenced in the materials that you have. All three committees have three members in common, and that's the Commissioner of Finance and Administration, the Comptroller, and the Treasurer. And then after that, the composition of the committees varies. As Commissioner said, the committees approve the benefit packages, funding methods, administrative procedures, and so on, the other functions that he mentioned. My division within Finance and Administration serves as staff and provides technical and administrative support to the committees. We research and develop the benefit recommendations that the committees ultimately vote on. We write the procurements, we write the contracts. So that's what our office does. We also service our many agencies and members with a service center, call center. Just a couple of highlights again that cross over all three committees. The committees do not receive revenues and do not incur expenditures. None of the committee members receive per diem travel reimbursement in either of the last two fiscal years. The committees operate plans that are self-funded, which means that the plans take on the financial risk. So we're not paying a third party like Blue Cross or Cigna to manage that risk. We manage the risk, and we assume that risk. So we each of the committees oversee the plans that are self-funded. They have their own funds to pay claims, and the funds sit in accounts that are managed by Treasury. So that's not unlike the general fund. Our funds, however, are not part of the general fund. They sit separately. The committees have met 6 times in fiscal year 24 and 7 times in fiscal 25, and each time they achieved a quorum at these meetings. We abide by the sunshine law requirements for public meetings, and we have governing procedures for the committees that include a conflicts of interest policy. We'd like to sort of frame the committees as acting like a board of directors for a large insurance plan, almost like an insurance company. We feel that the committees are very efficient and effective in delivering these benefits because of the structure of the committees. And they provide comprehensive, affordable, and dependable benefits for the members of each respective group. Now, moving to each of the committees, I'll start with the Local Education Committee first. The Local Education Committee has 9 members. I mentioned the 3 that are common to all 3 committees, plus the Local Education Committee has a representative from the Department of Education, representative of the School Board Association, and then 3 teacher representatives, one representing each of the 3 grand divisions. 2 of those positions are vacant right now. Those are appointed by the speakers of the House and Speaker of the Senate, the Lieutenant Governor. There are about 130,000 local education members, and these are teachers, non-certified staff, their retirees and their dependents across 131 local education agencies, many of which are very small agencies. These school systems, particularly the smaller ones, without the ability to pool covered lives in a consolidated risk pool, which is essentially what we manage, many of these local education agencies would not be able to afford comprehensive benefits. So now turning to the Local Government Committee, that committee has 5 members, again, the 3 I mentioned earlier, plus a representative that is appointed by the Tennessee Municipal League and one that is appointed by the Tennessee County Services Association. There are a little bit over 26,000 members in the local government plan across 367 agencies. Again, many of these are very small. And as with the local education plan, without the ability to pool these covered lives into a consolidated pool, many of these smaller agencies would not be able to afford comprehensive coverage. And then last, turning to the state committee, there are 11 members on the state committee, in addition to the 3 that cross over all 3 committees. The chairs of the Senate and House Finance, Ways, and Means committees sits on the state committee. There's a representative of the Tennessee State Employees Association, and then there are 3 employee representatives, one from higher education, and then 2 from central state employees. There are about 141,000 state members, and again, this is the executive branch, the legislative branch, the courts, and higher education institutions. For these agencies and higher education institutions, comprehensive benefits is critical to recruiting and retaining staff. And so it's part of the total compensation that allows them to recruit and retain good people. So through the work of the committee, the state and higher education agencies are able to provide comprehensive, affordable, and dependable, sustainable benefits that helps them fulfill their respective missions. So with that, I conclude my prepared remarks, and we respectfully request your approval to continue the work of the committees. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Members, you've heard the explanations. Senator Rose, Senator Hatcher, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that we extend.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, one thing I failed to mention, if there's any public comment, we do have a sign-up sheet over here to my left. Okay. So that I did want to mention that I failed to mention that a minute ago. Let me just make this explanation that we do now have a quorum in the House. And so,
There you go.
okay. So, if you would withdraw your motion, so we have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I think Senator Rose, you were first, and then we'll go to Representative Clemens.
Thank you, and Commissioner and Ms. Lee, thank you both, or Commissioner Lee, excuse me. Thank you both for being. I appreciate what you do. I think I know the answer to my question, but I need to ask it. You do not deal with any property insurance at all. Is that correct?
That's correct. We do
Okay.
not.
So if I wanted to find out about property insurance, who would I need to go to as far as for schools? A number of school buildings, and there's different agencies. Is that each school board? If you don't know, just tell me, look.
You're recognized. Go ahead.
I'm not sure, but I would say either the Department of Education or the comptroller potentially.
Okay. Thank you. Representative Clemens, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is with regard to the State Insurance Committee. And on the financial information, the questions number 6, I don't have page numbers, but it's question to answer number 6 and then number 12 as well. I noticed here in the second paragraph of your response, in 24, you collected over $968 million in premiums and paid out $917 million in benefits. And then you say in 25, you collected over $1.03 billion in revenues. Is that supposed to say premiums? Because I don't think y'all have revenues.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So
Oh.
that is in premiums, yes.
Okay. And so with that increase in premiums, that increase in premiums a result of the 5.5% increase in aggregate premiums for CY 2025, or is there some other explanation for that increase in that amount of premiums?
Right. So that would be resulting from the overall premium increase. To a minor degree, that would represent just the number of lives that are covered, which fluctuates. So, to the extent that you have more or fewer lives, that would also affect that number.
Thank you. And so that was my question. I didn't know if there had been an increase in the amount of people covered or if that was solely resulting from that aggregate increase. So.
Right. I don't have that exact number, but we can get that to you in terms of the number of lives covered from year over year.
No, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions from any of the members? Senator Hatcher, you're recognized.
I'm going to make a motion, yeah.
Oh, wait, just a minute. We need to ask for is there any public comment? Seeing none. Okay. All right. Okay.
So we'll take a motion for the local education.
What we're going to do, since all three of them are very similar, we're going to take a motion and separately for each one of all three. I do have one quick question though, before we do a motion, if that's okay. I noticed that there's some, I think there's on the board, there's a vacancy from West Tennessee and also from Middle Tennessee. And I think maybe we need to probably help or something, make suggestions, or what would you suggest to get the board up to the proper number?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate the question. And so those are, one is appointed by the Speaker of the House and one by Lieutenant Governor. So they have to be teachers, certified teachers, but
Yes.
outside of that, and they have to represent their specific division, the central division and west. I would encourage you to submit recommendations to the
Okay.
speakers. Yeah.
I wanted to ask that question just because I know that sometimes it's difficult for you to come up with someone and they do need to be required to be a teacher. And one is from West Tennessee and one is from Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So for the members, if we have suggestions of somebody that might be good to serve on these boards, then they would certainly appreciate the name of a person. So thank you. I wanted to mention that. So we have no public comment. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a vote individually on each one of these. And the first one is going to be the Local Education Insurance Committee. So have a motion. Now we can have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on the Local Education Insurance Committee that we extend that for 6 years.
Thank you. And I have a motion and a second. Let's see, we'll go take a vote in the House. We'll roll call vote in the House.
No, we do a voice vote in the House.
Okay, voice vote in the House. I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, take a roll call in the Senate.
Senator Bowling. I need something to turn on. Senator Bowling votes aye. Senator Hatcher? Aye. Senator Hatcher votes aye. Senator Jackson?
Aye.
Senator Jackson votes aye. Senator Kyle? Aye. Senator Kyle votes aye. Senator Rose? Aye. Senator Rose votes aye. Chairman Sutherland? Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Thank you. This passes through to the full committee
with a 6-year extension.
with a 6-year extension. Okay, next we will take a vote on local government insurance committee. I would need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion on local government insurance committee that we extend it for 6 years also.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, we're getting ahead. I need to ask for public comment, any public comment on this item. Seeing none. Now, your motion,
Is to extend 6 years for local government insurance committee.
thank you, and have a second.
Second.
I have a second on this. Okay, Madam Clerk, if you'll take a vote in the House. A voice vote in the House. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. In the Senate, if you'll take a roll call vote in the Senate. Voice vote.
Senator Bowling. Senator Bowling votes aye. Senator Hatcher.
Aye.
Senator Hatcher votes aye. Senator Jackson.
Aye.
Senator Jackson votes aye. Senator Kyle. Senator Kyle votes aye. Senator Rose. Senator Rose votes aye. Chairman Sutherland. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Thank you. And this will move for 6 years to full committee, state insurance. Okay, the third item, state insurance committee. We have need a motion.
Public comment.
I'm sorry, we need public comment. See no public comment. Next, a motion. Senator Hatcher, you're recognized.
I'd like to make a motion on the state insurance committee for it to be extended for 6 years.
Thank you. And have a second? You have a second, Senator Bowling? Okay, let's have a roll call vote in the Senate.
Senator Bowling. Senator Bowling votes aye. Senator Hatcher.
Aye.
Senator Hatcher votes aye. Senator Jackson.
Aye.
Senator Jackson votes aye. Senator Kyle. Senator Kyle votes aye. Senator Rose.
Aye.
Senator Rose votes aye. Chairman Sutherland. Chairman, you have 5 ayes.
Thank you. And in the House, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Passes through to full committee. Thank you both for this. Okay, next item, we're on item number 4.
In the inmate disciplinary oversight board.
Okay. The Inmate Disciplinary Oversight Board, if you'll come forward. And take a seat and just identify yourself. And you may, what we'd like to do is be sure you recognize yourself, who you're with, and what your position is, and you may begin.
Thank you, Chairman and members. My name is Michael Stahl. I'm the Executive Director of the Inmate Disciplinary Oversight Board. To my right is the Chairman, Mr. Jerry Vassbinder, and to his right is Board Member Dale Carr. We appreciate your time very much today. And as explained more fully in the packet before you, the Inmate Disciplinary Oversight Board is responsible for the review of all inmate sentence credits that have been granted, denied, or removed from an inmate following the imposition of a Class A disciplinary offense across all of the state's 14 correctional facilities. In support of this mission, the board to date has directed the Department of Correction to remove more than 350,000 sentence credit days from offenders, beyond what would have been removed if the board were not conducting its review process. That marks a more than 450% increase above TDOC original credit removal decisions. Additionally, the board has restored more than 17,000 credit days to inmates, and in total, the board has reviewed more than 20,000 disciplinary actions since its inception last year. In addition to these responsibilities, the board also works closely with the Department of Correction on evolving its policies to enhance correctional outcomes and to provide recommendations that improve safety for inmates, staff, and Tennessee communities. The board prides itself on developing great working relationships with all of its sister agencies across the state, including the Department of Corrections. And through that relationship has worked closely with TDOC on improving several department policies, including a newly developed sanctions matrix that has substantially increased the Class A disciplinary penalization process. Additionally, the board provides assistance to local district attorneys' offices regarding inmate prosecutions and assists the Board of Parole by providing a prolific offender list that can be used in the parole determination process. We also conduct yearly site visits to correctional institutions and provide legislative assistance regarding inmate disciplinary history while answering questions and providing analysis. The board is proud to be part of the governor's initiative prioritizing secure and resilient communities, and we work every day to establish and enforce protocols and policies that make Tennesseans safer. We're here today asking this committee to extend our important work for an additional sunset period. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Members, you have heard the explanation. Have some questions for many of the members. I think Representative Clemens, you were first. You may.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So each board member gets paid $120,000 annually. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When this board, we talk a lot about up here bureaucracy and trying to limit bureaucracy, and it appears this board does what other individuals already do. It's consuming a large chunk of taxpayer resources. And so what qualifications do these board members have? Do any of these board members have any experience in the penal system, running prisons, or anything like that? I know my colleague who serves on the board has some experience overseeing these types of things, but other than my colleague who's with you today, is there anybody on this board who has any experience in this profession?
Yeah, it's a great question, Representative. And I actually like to defer to our chairman, who I think could provide you with some details about his experience in this profession.
You're recognized. Just identify yourself and you may begin.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jerry Vassbinder. I'm the board chairman. I'm retired Obion County Sheriff. I was sheriff of Obion County for 16 years, worked for the Sheriff's Department for 34 years. As a sheriff, I managed the correctional facility. I also was a contractual provider to the U.S. Marshal Service, holding pretrial detainees for the Marshal Service. So yes, sir, I've got a background in corrections.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your service to the state of Tennessee and Obion County. What other of your colleagues on that board have similar experience?
We've got Mike Dunn, who was investigator for the Tennessee Department of Corrections. We have Mr. Mike Sharon, who was Deputy Chief of Investigations for the Memphis Police Department. And Dr. Mary Karpos was a analyst with the Tennessee Department of Corrections. That have all got law enforcement. And, Member Carr, besides being a former House member, has been a deputy sheriff in Sevier County for years.
And do we have any information on that? You said there was a 450% increase in sentences revoked or good credit revoked. Do we know, or do you have any information as to in which facilities those were? Is there any consistent pattern here where a certain warden is given good time or bad time as opposed to another, and whether it's in the Tennessee run prisons versus the private prisons?
Yes, sir. So
Go ahead.
Mike Stahl, the executive director. We collect all those statistics on a month-to-month basis. We actually have a form that we use that tracks the offense code inside of each individual facility to identify those trends. And we have monthly meetings with TDOC to talk with them about the things we're seeing inside the prisons. So more specifically to your question, some of the things that we do see at individual facilities, some facilities have higher rates of offense problems with gangs. Other facilities have higher rates of offense problems with drugs. So as we collect all that information, we do share it with the Department of Corrections so that they can understand what is happening at the individual facilities, inform wardens. We also, on our site visits, we also speak directly with the wardens about the trends that we're seeing and the problems that we think that they're facing so that we can better understand ways to improve their processes. And then additionally, we also get a quarterly list from the Department of Corrections with regard to outside prosecutions. So those outside prosecutions to the local DAs, the majority of those involve aggravated assault, sexual battery, homicides, and indecent exposure. So we track those as well to understand which facilities are having the most problems in those areas. So the short answer to your question is yes, and we'd be happy to provide all of that information. We collect all of it, but we don't submit it unless it's requested because it's voluminous. So each month, all of the board members will review an approximately 1,500 individual disciplinaries. There are 29 different Class A offense codes. So those 1,500 disciplinaries will come from those 29 different offense codes, and they track comments, they track prior Class A offenses for the individual inmates. So there's a lot of information there. So we're happy to provide any information that anyone would like, but yes, we have the answers to those questions if you'd like them, sir.
So you said each member is presented with 1,500 different?
No, so there's 1,500 total for approximately. So some months are less, about 1,400 Class A disciplinaries across the state. Some months are 1,600 Class A disciplinaries across the state. The 9 board members are in charge of reviewing every single one of those. So individually, each board member will review somewhere between 200 to 250 disciplinaries over the course of the month.
And so they're dividing those up, and then I guess y'all are voting on as a board, or does each member get sole discretion as to whether or not to make that decision with regard to those 200 or 300?
So it's a 2-step process. So the initial review is done by the individual board member. Each of those 1,500 or so disciplinaries are randomly distributed to the individual board members. Those individual board members are assigned the initial review of that disciplinary. If they determine that that disciplinary if action needs to be taken on that disciplinary, either increase the sentence credit withdrawn that's been adjudicated or restore certain credits, they bring those to our monthly meetings. And then as the board in its entirety reviews each of those cases, and it votes in its entirety as to what the re-adjudication is going to be.
And so I assume they defer to each individual member in most cases before they make a decision if they're reviewing. I'm trying to think, we're paying these folks $120,000 a year. This workload seems to be pretty voluminous. And I'm just wondering how much attention they can give to each individual matter, because these are people's, regardless of what you think, these are people's lives, and their ability to get out back into society is directly impacted by this, or the need to stay. And you referred to some facilities have a drug problem, some have a gang problem. Well, some have both. Charleston Turner's got a serious issue with both. And so my concern is, and I'll just ask you, does the fact that our contracts or county contracts, in most cases, contain a clause in there of a mandatory minimum amount of inmates per day, does that ever enter the equation when you're considering good time credits or bad time credits?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Parkinson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess my first question is, did I hear you call Mike Sheeran Dr. Mike Sheeran?
No, sir.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay. I just want to be clear on it. Mike Sheeran is a friend of mine. We worked many years together in my district. He worked at our precinct, served very well. I truly appreciate it. I do have a question though. When the good behavior credits are taken back or removed,
My first time to use this system, so can you turn yourself back on? There you go.
All right.
I apologize.
Mr. Chair, I'm used to a gavel preceding my mic being turned off, so I didn't hear the gavel, and I was wondering what was going on. Okay, when these good behavior credits when they're taken back, or removed, is this based on a conviction or is it based on an investigation? How does that determine whether or not you're going to remove some of the good behavior credits?
So the way our process works is it goes through TDOC's initial disciplinary process. So when the offense happens, there's a TDOC process that requires the disciplinary board sergeant at the individual facility to approach the inmate and ask the inmate if they would rather have a hearing or if they recognize that the offense, that they're guilty of it, and then they write it up as a guilty offense. And then there's an appeal process there that goes to the warden. Once it's approved through the facility, it goes up to central headquarters. Once it's approved through central headquarters, our review process begins. So it's at that point that the investigation and the, if you want to call it a conviction, has already occurred. And then we go through, based on the paperwork and the information that's available to us in the ETOMA system, and we do a secondary review of why that happened and what the effect is, and what makes the most sense. Then when we have questions that we don't feel like were answered within what's available to us, we have forms that we send over to TDOC. We speak directly with either the disciplinary board sergeant or the institutional investigators or the warden themselves on why those decisions were made, what we're seeing. And then once we get all the feedback that we need, we make a final decision. And then even after we make a final decision, the inmate, we have our own appeal process. So the inmate is then welcome, and we send them all the forms and information they need to appeal through our process as well. And there have been instances where we've changed our adjudication and re-granted time that's been withdrawn based on an appeal that was sent to us.
And thank you for that. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask that. So how often, when you get the information in from the facility, do you review that information and you've overturned something that they've said without an appeals process happening directly to you? How often does that happen?
So it's a shifting, the goalposts are sort of shifting. One thing that I'll mention is we worked diligently with TDOC for the past year on changing some of their policies. So prior to February of this year, the sanctions matrix that was utilized in a lot of these cases was much more lenient than the one that we're instituting now. So in February of this year, the cases that we would re-adjudicate, that we changed, were significant. It would probably approach 50%, 60% of the cases that we saw. But over time, because of the education that we're doing with the individual facilities, because of the work that's being done on TDOC's end, we've managed to shrink the numbers that we're changing to closer to 30% of the monthly disciplinaries that we're seeing are required to be changed. Now, in terms of how many get appealed back to us, that's a much smaller percentage. I'd probably put that around 5%. And
last thing. So in those shifts, where prior to, some of the policies being changed, and you said it was, about 50% of, you guys would change 50% of the outcomes. Which way were you changing in that 50%? 50% to return credits or 50% to remove credits?
The vast majority of our re-adjudications we're finding require an additional withdrawal. A smaller percentage require restoration of credits.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. Next, to have Representative Fritz, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being with us today. Hello, sir. How are you? It's good to see you. So ask a couple questions, as if I have the chairman's permission to ask about 3 questions.
You're recognized.
Thank
Go ahead.
you so much. And I want to ask those from the position of someone who sat on those disciplinary boards a long, long time ago, and someone who did those investigations. And so the first is, this is my understanding, and I'll just be asking if this is correct, that the board was created when Liza Fletcher was assaulted and murdered in Memphis by an inmate who's released early. And there was an end goal of public safety for this board. Does that fit with what the mission of the board is today?
I agree primarily with that. I think the impetus for its final creation was certainly that event, but I also think that the idea of the board had been in effect for several years prior to that.
Was that gentleman indeed released 4 years early due to sentencing credits? Do you recall?
He was released early. I can't say for sure if it was exactly 4 years early, but there were several years worth of sentencing credits that he had accrued that under TDOC policy and under our review process, he would not have accrued.
Thank you, sir. Does, in your understanding, the code allow for you to award, withdraw, and deny credits?
Yes, sir.